And we are on week 12, set 2, SWYK number 1. Slide my face right back over here-ish. Okay, before I do that, we want to be able to write polynomial functions in standard form. Standard form was what we saw in, written out with the terms plus, 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 or minus, or between them. But before we do that, we have to start with factored form. And before we do that, we have to know what our, either you could use the word solutions, or you can use the word x-intercepts or zeros. In this particular case, x-intercepts, zeros would be good choices. And they've given us 3 different numbers. They gave us positive 3, negative 2, negative 6. But what I want you to kind of look at here is how I handled it. I started out with x equals 3, x equals negative 2, x equals 6. You'll notice that I pushed the number, the constant number, to the other side. What I have created here at x minus 3, x plus 2, and x plus 6, these right here are called factors. Okay? Those are my factors. And as you can see, this is called factored form. So if it was y equals factored form, okay, that would have been, I know that's not the answer to this question, but we could ask a simple question like this, write it in factored form. Well, that would be pretty easy. Okay, but that's as hard as this would get. Now they went a step further and they asked me for standard form. So obviously that's what I need to do. So let's zoom out and see what we need to do. I do notice that factored form is the last answer in that whole bunch down there. So they are trying to trick people by actually putting that in the answer choices. So we need to multiply this together. Now, I am a big fan. Whoa. I'm a big fan of boxes. You may not be. You may be the type of person, and it's completely okay. It's up to you what you want to do. When you're multiplying these 3 things together, maybe you decide that you want to start with these 2. Doesn't matter which 2 you start with. So you start with those 2, and you want to multiply them together. Some of you are like x times x, and x times 6, and 2 times x, and 2 times 6. You can keep it straight. You can add like terms. You write them down correctly. You add them correctly. I have no problem with you doing it that way. Absolutely not. Okay? More power to you. But I like the boxes. So if I want to multiply these 2 things together, I put one of the boxes underneath. And then I drop the other one down on the side. So one is covering the columns and one is covering the rows. Then I just multiply them together, right? This column, this row match up. So I got x squared and 6x and 2x and 12. And I add them together. And I got x squared, 8x and 12. Well, then that needs to be multiplied times the x minus 3 that was in front. In my method, you just make a bigger box. That's it. Just a bigger box. In your method, you're like this and this and this and this and this and this. And then I'm adding like terms. And I'm really confused because I don't know what I've done and what I haven't done. Okay. So when we got it all multiplied together, we got this. Multiplied and then added like terms. That's what I ended up getting. X cubed plus 5x squared minus 12x. Minus 36. Come on. Now would be letter choice C. Okay. Now this one just says find the zeros. Okay. So we start out with factors, x plus 1, x minus 6, x minus 7. Start out with factors. Set each one equal to 0 and solve it. And that ends up giving you the x-intercepts or the zeros. So not a big mystery, very easy. Some kids like to say, oh, when they see that x plus 1 and then they know the 0 is -1, they like to say it's the opposite. As long as you understand what you're doing, I don't care what you want to say or how you want to describe it, but question 3. Find the zeros, but then it goes one step further and asks me to graph that. Okay, so I found the zeros, right? We set the x plus 3, the x minus 5, the x minus 6 up equal to 0, and then we solve them. We got -3, +5, +6. Well, then we need to graph them. Okay? We need to know what's going on the right side and the left side. So the first thing we do, we go to the positive multiplier. Positive multiplier. That tells us that the right-hand behavior is up. And because we have an odd degree, the left has to be opposite of the right, so it has to be down. So down on the left and up on the right. Well, down on the left and up on the right just got rid of 2 of the answer choices, right? Because they have the wrong end behavior. So it really focuses my attention on A and B. So I looked at A, and I had the right zeros, -3, 5, and 6, and the right end behavior. So I know I'm right by choosing letter A. B has the wrong zeros. Has the right end behavior, but the wrong zeros. Now, something that has a, okay, so the zeros that we have here, if you set the factors, you know, you've got your x minus 4 equals 0, and you got your x minus 2 equals 0. And if you solve them, you end up with 4 and 2, right? 4 and 2. Well, what is this other term? Multiplicity. Multiplicity means the number of times that something occurs as a factor. And in our question, that means it's an exponent. Okay? So in this particular case, we have 4 with an exponent of 4. I mean, nobody wants to see x minus 4, x minus 4, x minus 4, x minus 4. Why would we write that out 4 times when we could just use the exponent to tell us how many times it's written out? Likewise on the next one. We've got x minus 2, but it's only to the first power. So that's it is a, I should say this, how should I, the actual 0 is 2, but it has an exponent of 1, so that's its multiplicity is 1. Now, to be quite truthful, if I add them together, I get 5. But, and that goes along with the degree of this polynomial. I know you can't see it right away because you'd have to multiply it out. Okay, on number 4, it says the distinct zeros are, and then we have 4 and 2. The multiplicity of the repeated 0. Well, only one of those is repeated. The repeated 0 is in that column right there, or row. The repeated 0, that's the number, the 4. 4 is a repeated 0, right? X minus 4. And the multiplicity of that 1, 0, is the exponent, which is positive 4. So that should be enough for that video, especially since I'm getting sleepy.